Welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing Black Panther, just in time for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We're going to be breaking down the first few shots of the film. And just a hint, they are camera moves. How they add meaning and feeling to the shots, and how they really start to underpin the rest of the story. And how the director has created these shots, giving you a sneak peek into how the directors think, so you too can think like a director, or just appreciate how movies are made. So the movie starts with this CGI scene where we overhear the voice of a boy and his father talking about the history of Wakanda and how it came upon this great power and how the Black Panther became the Black Panther. That scene is an intricate camera movement scene that we're not going to be really focusing on. It's really spectacle heavy, and it really makes everything look really cool. The Black Panther's cool, this country's really cool. So it cuts to over text, and it's first in an African language, and then it rolls into, it says Oakland, 1992. So we've been told that it's where we're going to be and what time it is. And I think it's interesting, and I think it's important. They don't have this over the location of Oakland, 1992. They wanted it to be a clear thought. Oakland, 1992. What is Oakland, 1992? And then we cut to, and it's not just the place, it's what the place represents in this film. So by setting a clear distinction, making them discrete. And I also think it's really cool how what they've done is the music is there is this keyboard synthesizer that plays right as it trips the cut to Oakland. And what they cut to Oakland is this basketball hoop. It's a makeshift basketball hoop made after a milk crate. And what it screams is, it screams poverty. It screams a community down on its luck. And I think we spend a little bit of more time on it than you would expect, because we don't quite understand what it is at first. And the director wants to give you time to register what it is. Now, in other movies we've talked about, like in Poltergeist, for example, which I talked about last week. In Poltergeist, the opening scene follows the dog as he goes and sees all the family. And so that's how we meet the family as they're sleeping. And this time, the motivation for the camera movement is the basketball and the game. It's just really the game, but we follow the basketball. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this because the director didn't feel so attached to the basketball that he had to follow it at every single moment. And the basketball is always being followed. Like, for example, at the very beginning, the basketball drops from the hoop, and we don't see the basketball for a moment until we come down and see where the basketball is. Then there's another moment when the kid is checking the ball to the other kid, and we don't see the basketball, and he's just waiting for the check back. That's also something we don't need to see. And I think it's a good choice because, well, in both those moments, we're still motivated and conscious of the basketball, and it's still on the top of our thoughts because it's what all these kids are focusing on. But it isn't in the camera. It isn't in the frame. And so it doesn't matter that it's not in the frame here. Unlike in Poltergeist, where the dog is always in the frame. Now, why is this one shot so long? The first shot of the movie is this cool black African country we've talked about. It's this cool Black Panther superhero that we've been introduced to. And we cut to what could be shown as Tiny Tim. But these kids aren't supposed to be looked down upon. They're supposed to be cool too. And so what we're doing is we're moving as they're playing basketball. The game is exciting. They're not victims. They're players in their world. And so that's what's going on in this world. And I think that's why you have it as a one shot to start with, just to make it as cool as the previous shot. So there are other ways that the director could have chosen, other things he could have picked to add energy to this scene. He could have done lots of quick cuts, which is usually done in either two ways. Quick cuts with close-ups, like you've seen in Spider-Verse, as in action sequences or action moments where people are fighting. And what you're doing is it's not only that it's quick cutting, but it's also that you're close in on something, which means that there's intense focus and intense importance placed on something, adding tension and pressure. That would have added an energy and an immediacy to what's about to happen. It would have felt like something important or something dramatic is going to happen, like a conclusion of something. It's the beginning of the movie, so the scene doesn't need to be about what's going to happen immediately. And this scene is about setting something up that plays out later, that the audience doesn't understand yet, and they don't need to. They're just being introduced to something. It's to somebody they don't really know has been focused on. And so it would be a mistake to say at the very beginning of the movie, you're going to get action, you're going to get results and dramatic movement here real quick, real fast, because then you don't have anything to pay off later in the movie. And so they don't do the quick close-ups with quick cuts. These kids aren't supposed to right now represent any individual. That's not supposed to happen yet. They're supposed to represent Oakland and the heroism and the excitement that is part of being even in poverty, these kids' lives. It's not supposed to be like a cheap life. And then the last big movement of the shot, the very long shot, is the kid is coming down on the right side. He is doing a layup for the basketball hoop, and we're coming down on the left side. We're both coming to the head. There's always a little bit of a dramatic tension arc in these scenes, and just to keep the audience's focus and to keep them engaged in story. And so we look up at the basketball hoop and we linger there for a moment, and then we tilt up further. What are we looking at? We're looking at the ship that is up there up in the clouds. No one else sees that. It's just for the audience, and that's the point. The scene we're about to cut to is the Black Panther talking to his brother. The brother is there talking with his associate about how they're going to do some kind of activity, some gang activity, it seems like. And what this moment is it sets up a tension, and it lasts for the rest of that scene with the brother and his associate. And the reason why that's great, just great storytelling, is the audience knows something that the characters don't. There's this tension, like, whoa, what's gonna happen? We don't know what's gonna happen. It's kind of like bomb on the bus, and it's going to blow up. We just don't know what that's going to be.
These two Grace Jones looking chicks.
Next time, I'll see you guys back on the channel. Thanks for watching. Hit the notifications and subscribe.